What is going on, everybody? Tonight we're back in the home shop here, working on the little 69 again. You can see we done the front end, we done the brake booster and the brake master cylinder, waiting on steering column. But now we're gonna start working on the rear brakes. Let me just show you what we got. So what we got here is two sets of everything. We got 4 calipers, 4 rotors, 6 sets of brackets. I don't know how that come about. All kinds of bolts. But anyway, we got to figure out what goes on this car. Because like I said, they bought 2 sets. One set's supposed to be right. The other set said was probably wrong. But the bad thing is, it looks like they've mixed everything up. So, like I said, we got 2 calipers. It's got the emergency brake, 2 that don't have. You can tell that has been sitting out in the weather and some moisture's got to them. But anyway, so we're gonna put one side on this thing and get it figured out, and then we're gonna show y'all putting the other side on. Because by the time I figured all these brackets, and if we videoed all that, it'd probably be a 12-hour video. So anyway, let me get stuff sorted out, see what I can figure out, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we've got everything pretty much in the not gonna use pile and the use pile. We're going with the calipers. It's got the emergency brakes on them. They seem to fit better. These right here, that lip seems to fit the bolt that goes through one of these brackets. So we couldn't get them on. Right here is some extra flange brackets. Right here is 2 sets of the adapter brackets instead of the flange brackets. Here's one of the rotors. I'll show you in the tub here, or the box. Right here is the other 2 rotors and the other sets of brackets we're not going to use. Like I said, we actually got one side on and got it all figured out. So I'm going to walk over here and show you it, how it's supposed to look. Okay, right here, we got this rotor on and we got this caliper on. You got your one bracket goes between the axle and the, anyway. So I'm going to show you on the other side, assembling it. Hopefully I can remember from this side to that side. At least I know which brackets we got to use anyway, so maybe I won't forget. But I'll show you assembling it, but this is what it looks like. There is enough parts to make one fit, so one set fit anyway. You can see that rotor got down in there. I reckon the story is this car was in a shop or like a garage built onto the house or something, and they needed to build onto the house an extra room, so it just kind of got pushed outside with all the parts being in that tub right there. And you know how the wind and the rain is. It just kind of blows everything around, and that's what happened to, like if you saw the rotors on the front end assembly and stuff like that. So we're gonna set the camera up and we're gonna make these parts fit the other side. Okay, we gotta start by pulling our axle out, and I think you can see why them parts were opened up and all mixed up. Looks like on this side here they done tried to put some of them on because one of the new nuts was on it, and most of these are loose right here. Except for maybe that one. Of course, I believe it was cross-threaded. Anyway, take our old axle retaining bolts and nuts and you'll throw them away. Well, not throw them away, save them for a future project. Them things come in handy. But anyway, of course we wasn't lucky enough that they had popped the axle out or it got stuck on. Hopefully we'll just kind of knock it out. Oh yeah. Wasn't bad at all. Anyway, so starting out, boy, that thing needs a rear end cleaning. I'm gonna have to get down here with it, so let me get some of this up where I ain't laying right in the dirt. Will be interesting to see how many times I gotta put it together and take it apart. So this one right here, if I can get it picked up. This one right here goes between your axle and the housing. So we'll slide it over the axle. Slide the axle back in. What this right here does, it actually takes the place of your backing plate. That's what it shims up, is where the backing plate was. So it keeps everything in the right geometry, I guess you call it. Make sure I don't get my bolts mixed up. A couple's a little longer than the others, like I already have here. May have the wrong plate. I believe I do. After separating all that out, I think I got the wrong one. Let me slide that back out. This back off. Go get this. There we go. That's a perfect fit. Okay, and this has got to go on. This is the hard one to remember, because it's got to go on where it fits. It throws that up here. So I think it's this way. Yeah. And we'll put our locking nuts on. If you notice, this bracket goes on the outside of the flange, the axle retainer. Oh, it's actually warm in here tonight, but I like it. I'm not complaining. I think we're supposed to have some more cold weather come in Monday. I'm not wanting it, that's for sure. Snug all these up. That nut that stayed on there off that other one has come back to bite me. Yeah, that's too long. I forgot about the one right here. The bracket does not go into it, so it takes a shorter bolt. You could actually keep the stock one, but since we got all four heads like that back there, I like to keep it all the same. So that's why I don't go changing that up. All them on. on. Now this bracket will bolt to this bracket, but you got some spacers, so let me just show you all that here. Let's see. Goes through the spacer and through that, and then a nut on that. Bolt spacer. Well, hand is going to go all the way over yonder. My head. If you got your original directions, it really ain't a bad job, because these look just like the ones I believe that I put on my car over there that come from Speedway. I believe mine was kind of like the other kiddo because it had different spacers right here. You could actually shim it to different specs. Let me go find another nut. You can see them spacers in there. That's what sets your depth from the caliper to the rotors. Kind of start getting down there with it. So we may have to reposition y'all just a little bit. Oh, you can still see everything here. At least bring it in the way. If I don't get in the way. Impact here is nice, just can't use it on every one of them. It's about 75 foot-pound. All right. Now here kind of comes the tricky part. You got to get these bolts through the calipers, through the brake pads, rotor on there. what the deal is here. Won't fit through the well, get over here while I can look at it. Oh, get down here with it. Well, that don't make a bit of sense. The other side fit just fine. This one's not wanting to fit over the. It's like this one of them is haywire. I think I got a little lip in one of these holes here. So let me clean them out, file the roughness off of them, and then it should go. Okay, so let me show you. I figured out the problem was here. It wasn't the rotor. It was this one stud right here. It was kind of in some. It had an old, I don't know where it's at, but there's a socket with a chewed up nut on it. And it was on it, and you could tell it'd been beat with a hammer a few times. So I guess they had it kind of bent in. So I just put a lug nut on it and kind of knocked it back down, got it set in the axle real good, and then it just slid right on like it was supposed to. So, but what I did is I carried it to the side, it slid right on, so I knew it had to be something in the axle. But anyway, let's get back to putting the brakes on. I don't know. I'm afraid my big head's fixing to get in the way. But anyway, we'll try not to. Anyway, like I said, we got to put this one on right here. Well, let's not put it on this. This one on right here. And then we got to put this one in right here and get it up in here. Well, keep that from bouncing around maybe anyway. Alright. And that one just does not want to stay, because what actually holds it in is the bolts. And slide the top in up here. Okay, get that one started. This one started. All right, and there it is. That's the other caliper. That went on a lot faster. I spent, like I said, probably an hour last night switching brackets around till I found all the right brackets and like the right calipers. Like I said, the other calipers, they hit the bolt coming through the bracket right here, but these are the emergency brake ones. They're probably a little better. Now we got to get us some lines and get them hooked up. We got a new set of lines from CJ Pony, I believe it is. But let me show you what I was talking about. If you remember the little round spacers there, the other set, it has a deeper rotor. Well, it uses spacers like this. And you may have to use two thick ones, or you may have to use a thick and a thin, or you may have to, you just got to mix it up till you find the right spec to get when you got a pad in, to get your rotor centered up in it. You use those spacers to shim it away or up next to, so your rotor is sitting in the middle of the pads. But anyway, that's putting a Speedway Performance rear disc brake kit on a '69 Mustang. Appreciate everybody tuning in. 256 Garage out.